Thanks for setting the scene. Yeah, dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Löffelmann. I'm the Executive President of the Division Engineering and Technologies. Maybe a couple of words regarding my background. Studied chemical engineering, did a PhD on that. Then finally I got a little bit fed up with chemicals, went into the consulting business. After several years, made up my mind again, went back into operation, into chemicals. And in the last two previous positions before I joined Bilfinger, I was a member of the management board of two large chemical companies, being responsible for maintenance, production, large capex projects, and engineering. So in my previous life, I was sitting at the other side of the table, negotiating with the Bilfingers of the world, certain capex projects, or even with Gerald, an outsourcing of the maintenance. That's how I got to know Bilfinger. What I would like to do with you is today to share with you some minutes what is E&T about, what are we really doing, and then to reflect on the latest changes on the energy and utility markets and how we manage that. The first message is, compared to Northwest Europe, all figures are correct on that page. So, what is E&T about? What's our core competence? What are we really good at? Let's take it quite simple. If you would think to invest into a plant, a part of a plant, or a large equipment, we are the right ones that can accompany you from the feasibility study through basic engineering, process engineering, detailed engineering, procurement, manufacturing, construction services, and finally until commissioning. That's the core of our business. We could do that as an EPCM acting on your behalf, or we can do that on a lump sum base as an EPC contractor. For doing that successfully, we have worked now within, especially engineering and technologies, especially on our project performance, to improve really the performance of our lump sum projects. It's good if you sell a project, but if you don't bring it home profitable, it's just sunken money and you even worked for that. And I think even Terry, my colleague from the US, he will tell you a little bit later about the risk management processes. Where do we do our business? We are basically more or less evenly split across four verticals: oil and gas, chemicals and petrochemicals, energy and utilities, and pharma. Especially pharma has experienced tremendous growth in the last years. Tobias will again nod. Exactly. And that's also the reason why among our top 5 clients, there are not only energy and utilities companies like EDF, not only large chemical companies like BASF. No, we have now also Novartis and CSL Behring as our top clients. So we really positioned ourselves now very good in the new pharma segment. Contract type, well, as already said, we are a plant or equipment manufacturer, so most of it is lump sum based. It's 70%, the rest, 30%, split between unit rates and reimbursable ones. Looking at our employees, approximately 5,200, approximately 50% of that are really engineers. That shows on the one hand side our high dedication to innovation, but on the other hand, we focus a lot on engineering across all the various disciplines. We contribute 20% to Bilfinger's total revenue, and we do that with a share of headcount of 16%. Now let's have a look, as promised, on the energy and utilities markets. I think you all witnessed the tremendous change that we had in the recent years in the energy and utilities markets. Coal-based power generation, it's on its way to say permanently goodbye to Europe. Several European countries have already concluded to exit, and several already did that before. What happened to the industry there? Well, big players, Siemens, GE, Hitachi, went into heavy restructuring. And we at Bilfinger, well, these good old power units, being once a stronghold of profit generation, struggled seriously in the market. And as Tom already indicated, some of them we divested, but what did we do with the rest at Bilfinger, especially at E&T? We merged them into one unit. We downsized the business, adjusted the capacity, merged them into one new legal entity, have introduced a new business unit structure in order to follow up the new market in a much better way. So what to do now with all the skill sets, the references that you still have from the power generation business? What to do with that? Well, Let's simply try to export that or transfer that to another segment that still provides sufficient growth opportunities. One of that is, Tom mentioned that, nuclear. We in Germany think also nuclear is a dying business, but if you look around Germany, there are tremendous growth opportunities. We'll tell you something later about that. The other thing is, well, power generation always had strict emission controls. We have a large track record in DNOx and DSOx capabilities. But now stricter emission limits come on also online in other segments, cement, metallurgy, marine business. So why not taking our core knowledge there and sell it somewhere else? And I will tell you also here an example. And of course, we also keep to invest in R&D capabilities to be perceived as an innovative player in certain niche markets. But now let's look at the nuclear segment. To be honest, when I joined 1.5 years ago Bilfinger, I had no clue that Bilfinger is doing anything in the nuclear segment. And I think the regular world still has that perception that we aren't doing anything. But if we look here at the sketch of a typical nuclear plant, and all the blue dots indicate really areas where we can provide value added. That's the piping in the turbine island. That's the piping in the nuclear island. It can be the containment line on top, the airlock system, the waste treatment system, the filter changing machine, the steam generator connectivity. We can provide a lot of value added. It's not just plain vanilla construction work that we could do. We can really provide technology here. And not only we can, we did. So all these blue spots really indicate projects that we sold. So we are really well positioned in the market. And the good thing about the nuclear market is it's a highly regulated market. In order to become a strategic supplier of a nuclear project, you need to have the certifications and you need to have the references. And we have both. So that looks really very good. We are also well positioned to accompany a nuclear client throughout the whole life cycle, from the beginning, feasibility studies, until the decommissioning. We can really go with the whole life cycle through a nuclear client. And also here, these boxes look generic, but we could fill each of those also with whether projects that we have sold or projects that are currently ongoing. Now, let's come to the UK. Duncan mentioned it. The government decided in the UK to build 11 new nuclear power units. EDF is focusing on Hinkley Point and Sizewell. Hitachi is doing Wilfer and Oldbury. New Generation is doing Moorside. And we are already discussing with them. We are also working for some of them with our engineers. We have sold to Hinkley Point the waste treatment system in the value of 15 million euro. We are currently engaged in tenders of approximate range of 400 to 500 million euro. Will we get all of that? Probably not. Will we get nothing? Definitely not. So we are, as Duncan said, very well positioned. My German attitude says, well, the bottle is in the fridge, but I would like to wait until we have the signature. But we got very good signals from the client. The only stupid thing, the annoying thing about the nuclear industry is that every project, or most of it, starts with a delay. And even more projects end up with a much larger delay. So you need to balance how you manage the resources that you need to reserve for these projects. Let me give you a good example. Olkiluoto, we started in 2005 with a 105 million euro contract. We were supposed to end in 2008. We have now the year 2018 and we are still working in Olkiluoto. Not because we are so slow, because we simply have reached now a contract volume from 105 to 550. That's the good thing about the nuclear business. It ensures you a high, stable baseload. And just this year, we have been awarded at Olkiluoto additional 20 million euro. Additional new builds are coming in Turkey, Akuyu, Sinop, Ignaida, and we are also in conversations here with Rosatom. Moving from north to the west, in France, the Grand Carénage is ongoing. Lifetime extension and upgrading of 58 nuclear blocks, 58. We are already working in some of them. We have we have started 2 years ago with partners a method to exchange the steam generator in a nuclear island. You need to disconnect in the hot zone a 100-ton equipment, lift it out of it, lift the new one in and connect it again. That's A, not something that everybody can do, and B, even if he can do, not everybody gets that awarded. So we are perfectly positioned here. The other thing is the waste treatment plant in Le Hague. We have won here a project of 50 million euro together with a joint venture partner. Our share is 25. Why have we won that? That's our modular approach that we were able to sell. We design the equipment that needs to be replaced in skids, mount it and build it in our prefabrication shops, ship it to Le Hague and mount it in. By doing that, we save the client valuable time in project execution. So here, nuclear segment is a very promising one. But let's leave the mainland behind. Let's go on a ship. What happens there? In the marine industry, by 2020, the sulfur content needs to be reduced from 3.5% down to 0.5%. In some of the regions, even down to 0.1%. So what can the shipping companies do? They have two options. Whether they buy a higher quality marine gas oil with lower sulfur content, costs basically $200 to $300 more per ton, or they invest into scrubbing technology in order to remove the sulfur dioxide from the flue gas. And now the whole economics kick in. That means assuming that a vessel on average consumes 60 tons per day, you have the price differential. The investment case for a scrubber is between 2 to 3 million, so 2 million plus minus 1, depending on the ship. You can create a payback time of approximately 2 years. The whole investment case is a no-brainer, but still the whole shipping industry has been very reluctant to do these investments. What did we do in the meantime? We took our expertise from the power generation business, have discussed it with a shipping company, have entered into a pilot project, designed our own scrubber based on our know-how, built it into the MT Aurelia, went on stream with that at the beginning in 2017, and since then it's running without any failure. Given the fact that this was the first scrubber we built and it's running without a failure, it's a clear indication that we could benefit from our old know-how here. So we are right now in the final negotiations of a cumulated contract value of 50 million euro. Maybe if we would held that capital markets day 1 week later, I would be able to say we opened already one bottle, but we are really here in final negotiations. We are not in a tendering phase, we are just aligning here the terms and conditions. On top of that comes the aspect, by 2020 the emission limits will be online. Globally, approximately 25 companies can produce these scrubbers. Let's say each company can do 50 of those per year, resulting in an annual installation capacity of 1,200. Right now, 600 ships have the scrubber installed. There are thousands of ships out there that still needs the retrofit scrubber. So that means we will run into an installation capacity bottleneck. What would that mean for our margins? Most likely they will go this way. And we really see now that the increasing requests are coming in. So really the shipping companies are waking up. The other thing at the end are our R&D capabilities. We are perceived as a very high quality provider in the superconducting magnetic field. We have just sold, beginning of this year, a 22 million euro contract providing to GSI 83 superconducting magnetic modules. Those will be built into FAIR. FAIR is the facility for atom, proton, and ion research, and they will be installed in the new SIS 100 accelerator ring. And they do then some fancy research like origin of the universe, but also some more tangible things like cancer therapy. So we are really positioned in certain niches really as a very innovative player. We have also corporations here with the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology or CERN or other European research associations. Quite good positioned here. So wrapping up, I hope that within the last minutes I was able to give you somehow the impression, A, what E&T is about, what are we really doing, B, how we managed the crisis in the power business, and C, how we repositioned ourselves to participate in further growth markets. Thanks. you.